Hey YouTube, what's happening? Chris here. I want to bring you guys a little update. Today we're going to be going over Litecoin, Digibyte, Theta, XLM, and ADA. Those were the ones, guys. I was only going to do 3, but y'all are so good to me. I'm going to do 5 here. We're going to go through them. I'm going to try to do them as quickly as I can, but we're also going to get into some detail as well. And what I'm trying to do here, guys, if you could like, subscribe. We're trying for 200 likes on this video. We're really going to dig into some stuff, and I'm going to give you my opinion on what's happening in the cryptocurrency space. Remember, I'm not your financial advisor. I don't give financial advice. I show you guys the upside that I'm looking at, the downside, the sideways, and we make a plan and we determine what's the bullish case, the bearish case, or could we just be consolidating and moving sideways. And that's what we want to look at. That's what we want to have a plan for, and that's what we do here at this channel. We're trying to learn how to trade and roll with it. So guys, let's get into this. Help us out, help us get those 200 likes, and we'll dig right in here. So Litecoin right now, I would say, is one of the most bullish coins. Reason being, we're still up above the 200-day moving average. We're holding that strong. And remember the other day I was talking about how these little breaks that we have to watch out for that. And if we do start to have that, where we're at here off that hammer candle, we most likely would come up here and test these real bodies at around 51.44. And I believe that still could be the case. You know, there's not a lot of overhead resistance from where we're at right now. So obviously, depending on Bitcoin and what Bitcoin's going to do, Litecoin alone here is set up for a nice little run. If we could get a close again today where we're at, a close that's higher than yesterday's candle, we definitely could come up here and touch or test this real body around that 51.44, or even the wick here at 53.46, and then up above that it's going to be around 56 for our overhead resistance, guys, right in this area right there. So about that 56.80 would be another tough one to get over. But we're also experiencing on Litecoin here a golden cross. Do you see the 20 EMA crossing over the 200-day moving average right now? So that's your short-term moving average crossing over your longer term moving average, and that's what you're seeing right here. So that's another good thing, that we could continuously be pushed to the upside. So these are the upside targets, guys, that, you know, we've defended this 20 EMA and this 200-day moving average right here with this hammer candle where we wicked through and we said, all right, the bulls stepped in. But what I want you to pay attention to also, though, volume is trending down. So on the bearish side, I would say, you know what, volume right now, you can see this moving average is starting to trend down a little bit. Whenever you're making a move up, you want volume to be expanding. So pay attention to that as well. You know, this very well could come up here. We hit this 51.41, and then we roll back over and test the 200-day moving average again. So keep that in mind as well, guys. You want to have good volume when we have these breakouts. Now with the RSI right now is starting to point up a little bit, which is good. You want to see that, and we're at 60, which is a good strong number. So we're just moving up right through there, guys. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on that, and we're kind of getting to a point where we're going to decide which way it's going to break, because you still have this upper trend line right here. So are we going to break through that upper trend line on the RSI, or are we going to bounce off it and fall farther down? And that's where maybe we would catch this $40 range to the downside, or this 50 moving average. And remember, this the downside targets now, guys, around that 38, and we'd want to see this overall trend line hold. That's the thing we want to see hold. That we want this short-term uptrend that we've been in to turn into an intermediate term bullish uptrend, and then we want it to go to that long term, and that's how it has to start, guys. So this is a good start. This has been since December 15th that we've been moving up, higher highs, higher lows, and that's a big deal. Also, the MACD now, the lagging indicator here, remember that we had the cross to the downside. Now it looks like we're wanting to cross to the upside a little bit, and the histogram starting to tick up. So the MACD is looking bullish. I would say the RSI is, you know, about neutral right now. I want to see what happens, especially with this trend line. We're still in an uptrend, which is bullish. We're up above the 50 moving average, which is bullish. We have a golden cross, which is bullish. Our volume is bearish, and we're going to have to see where today's close is, guys. We had some wicks, so some profit taking yesterday. I want you guys to be aware of that. So we're going to zoom into this candle. You all know I love to get into the Japanese candles. I think it's one of the most important things you can study. So right here, see this candle, guys? We closed up above the one the day before, but we did have a long wick here, so there was some profit taking that was taking place. But today's candle's looking good. Say we were to close right there, guys, most likely we would at least come up here and try to test this 51.28, because there's not a lot of resistance between where we're at now and then this area up in here. So keep that in mind on Litecoin. We're at $48.40. we're up 3.4%. The next one we're going to get into, and all these we're doing in order. We're going Litecoin, Digibyte, Theta, XLM, ADA. We're going to get into Digibyte next. And if you like what we do, guys, give us those thumbs up. Really enjoy being here with you. I'll still try to get one more video out today, maybe a tutorial. I've loved doing that stuff. All the people who say they're learning from those. And also I want to tell you, with me running my, and I'm being personal with you, with me running my other business and my family and everything else, guys, I'm not going to be able, I'm going to always try my best to get back to the comments, but I want to get this information out to you. So I'll do my best to get back to comments whenever I can, but don't take it personal if I don't get back to the comments. It's not that I don't like any of you, it's just that I'm extremely busy right now. And, you know, I have quite a few things that I have to put ahead of YouTube. So that's just what it is, and I'm going to do my best to be here to get this information out to you. So I just want to be truthful and honest with you about all that. Alright, so let me find a good exchange here for Digibyte. Let's try Poloniex. Let's see here. Yeah, let's use this one. Sometimes you just don't have enough data on some of the other charts. Alright, so with Digibyte, guys, we're looking a little more bearish. I want you to be aware of that. So what happened was we had a really strong candle, and this is all on the one-day chart. We had a really strong candle here, and we actually closed up above this trend line, which was great, because before we wicked up above it, and then we actually got pushed all the way back down, which was a big failure. Like that was a big rejection there. So we pushed our way back up. We found support on this 20 EMA that crossed over our 50. So we had that golden cross we were talking about. And then we closed up above it. But today now, this is a really crucial candle, because right now if we were to close, we would close back underneath this trend line, which most likely would push us down to test this 20 EMA again around that 0.0105 is where I would look at for support on the downside. Now, on the upside, if, say, something changed throughout the day today and we ended up closing up in here, that would be a great sign. Remember, trend line breaks and closes up above them. That's awesome, because typically you'll get a move. You know, you'll break up here. Sometimes you'll break all the way up, then you'll come back to the trend line, retest it, and then make your move. Sometimes you'll just shoot right out of it, and other times you'll come up and then you'll actually fall all the way through and there will be a rejection. But right now, the volume's not looking good. This candle's not looking good. It almost looks like a hanging man top candle right here on this trend line too. So we're seeing rejection. And then what you're also seeing here on the RSI, see those lower highs, we have not broken that. We would want to see a break to the upside there. In your MACD, we did have a bullish cross here, and we've been traveling up. The histogram's kind of been just flat up in here, and that's where we're at now. We're just kind of flat on this MACD. We're kind of just moving sideways. It wouldn't even surprise me if we moved sideways for a while till we decided. So there's still a great chance we could break to the upside, but also be prepared for that downside break, guys, down into there. And also this 50 moving average is what we would want to see hold around that 0.009. So keep your eye on that, and keep your eye on this. Remember, hanging man candles, you have those long legs, which this one here, the body's a little bit too big and the wick's not long enough. But you would see basically a head like this and then a wick that's a little bit longer, and it looks like a man hanging and his feet hanging down. And the Japanese term for that is basically someone who bought the top, because now they're caught hanging with those bags, essentially. So that's the hanging man candle, and really pay attention when you see those. But we're going to have to wait for the close today. That's what's very important. A lot of people don't understand. You have to wait for the close, especially when we're going off the one-day chart. All right, next one we're going to get into. So I would say Digibyte right now is a little more bearish. I would look for potential good buying opportunities if we had another pullback into this area, because I bet you we're going to test this and probably break out of this at some point here coming up soon, guys, this trend line right here. So I think it's just patience is the #1 thing right now. Patience and seeing where these candles are going to close. The next one, we're going to go to Theta. So I would say just a little more bearish right now. I'm still bullish long term on Digibyte, but just in like the short term, in the next day, 2 days, whatever, it could be a little bit more bearish right now. Maybe look for a good pullback, a good entry. But in terms of going long on Digibyte at 1 cent, guys, it's a wonderful project. We're down 2% today, so you know it's not terrible for a long term investment. But remember, I'm not your financial advisor. So let's go to Theta. We'll use Binance. Let's see here. All right. And Theta is interesting, guys. We really had a nice push up, which was great. I want to show this to you. So we had a bullish engulfing candle. Do you see this engulfing candle of this candle right here? So this was the day before's body, and this one engulfed it. So that meant most likely, because it came on volume as well, that we're going to get pushed to the upside. We got pushed to the upside, and what you're seeing here, that's a doji. This is a shooting star candle. We're almost seeing another doji, or a small shooting top, or shooting star, or I'm sorry guys, spinning top candle. So what I'm looking for next is, especially with these wicks up here, I believe Theta will probably pull back to this 20 EMA around 11 cents before most likely having another push to the upside. That's just my opinion on Theta from what I'm looking at here. The MACD, you can see here, starting to curl a little bit. The histogram starting to tick down. So that may be another indication that we're going to have a nice pullback. Remember, there's nothing wrong with pullbacks, guys. You want pullbacks before further continuation. That's what you're looking for. Even this, maybe we could have a pullback just another day or two, and it's almost like that bull flag, and then you move up from there. All right? So on the RSI, we're also at 75, so there needs to be a cooling down process. We're over 70. We're overbought right now. You're seeing dojis. You're seeing shooting stars. You're seeing spinning tops up there. We're most likely going to have a little bit of a pullback. Keep that in mind. All right? But overall, Theta's doing great. I mean, that's a nice little pump that came in. And always look overhead, guys. Do you see this? This is a rounded bottom that was taking place. And basically what you're having is there was a lot of sellers, and then it switches. And all of a sudden, supply and demand switches, and you start moving up. And that's what we had here with Theta. Another thing on Theta I would want to see is for these to be kept. Right there. Do you see the higher lows? How they're bouncing off it? So think, guys, another pullback off here before a potential move higher, to where we would try to test up around this 16 cents. So a nice little pullback onto that 20, and then a push up higher. So I would say right now, guys, truly, Theta's a nice little bullish looking coin. You know, wait for a good healthy pullback, and then that might be a nice spot to where it gets pushed up, because you're starting really to see this change now. Do you see the change? You were having lower lows here, and now you're having higher lows that are coming in, and that beautiful bullish engulfing candle was nice as well. So keep that in mind. We're also having our 50 moving average wanting to cross over our 200-day moving average. So that's a golden cross there as well. So we're going to have to see what happens with Theta. That could be interesting. I'm going to keep my eye on that, guys. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. I don't own any Theta right now, but there's a good potential here that it could have a pullback to this 20. Would be a potentially great entry, or down right in here around that 7 cents if we do have that much of a pullback. Because you know anything can happen in crypto, guys. A big whale can come in and all of a sudden take his profit right here, and you see a big red candle that falls all the way down, and we get support off here, and then we bounce up again. Things are crazy in this game. It's the wild, wild west, and that's why I'll never say that I'm a professional in this. I don't think anybody's a professional in cryptocurrency, because you can't be. You know, especially when the order books are this thin. When they're this thin, you know, one whale can move it however they want, stop you out. That's what all these wicks are. Do you see all these long wicks? It's because the order book, look, if there's no volume here. Look at that wick, all the way up, this one all over the place. And that's the reason there's no volume, so they can move it wherever they want. Excuse me, guys, I'm going to grab some water quick. So yeah, I'm liking the looks of Theta. Not too bad. It's getting a nice little move. But I would wait for the pullback. I wouldn't go buying right now when you're seeing all those wicks up there and a shooting star candle and a doji. Remember that doji? We had a beautiful push up from this candle here, and then that doji shows that the bull or the bears were stepping in and saying, we're not going to get too much higher now. We're going to swat you back down. You're getting overextended. All right, let's go to XLM. Know a lot of people like Stellar. I'm going to go to Kraken. Guys, the biggest thing you can do is just be patient. You know, don't FOMO into anything. I promise you there will be more opportunities. Look at these charts. They're crazy. They're all over the place in terms of volatility. I mean, look at these spikes and falls, and don't stress out or feel like you miss anything. You just be patient and let the trades come to you. So, right now on XLM, excuse me, guys. XLM, we're starting to get our first higher low right in this area. So you can see we're having these lower lows that have been coming in right to this hammer candle here. Now you're starting to get that switch. But what I want to see, and what we're going to have to pay attention to, is the 20 EMA to see if we get a cross over this 50 moving average. Let's zoom in here for a second. So right now the 20 EMA is acting as overhead resistance. Also the 50s acting as overhead resistance. We're having our RSI tail down a little bit right now. This is how I draw basically my trend line. I put it right here. I'd want to see a break of that in that area, guys. It kind of looks like we're just getting pushed to the downside. Our histogram starting to tick down. Our MACD, you can see, looks like it wants to cross back down through the signal line. So I would definitely say XLM may have a little bit more room to the downside, but we have to also plan for the upside, because look, guys, we're right here and we're just moving sideways. This could be a bear flag that drops down into this area around the 7 cents, which may be a good spot to accumulate, where you had this little doji candle here. Or we may get pushed up to the upside and see if we have to deal with this 50 moving average around that, 0.0882 with Stellar. But what I would want to see with Stellar as well is to see this trend line kept right here. Trend line's getting a little steep, but we're gonna have to see what happens here. You have this nice gap there. So are we gonna get a bounce off this from where we're at here and get up over top of that 50, or are we gonna roll over and have a trend line break? I'm keeping my eye on it. So, in the very short term, we're still in a short-term uptrend for XLM, and until this trend line's broken and we start, going back down and making those lower lows, we're still in that short-term uptrend. So keep that in mind as well. And guys, remember, we're so low on the charts, like I was telling you guys. I mean, take a look at this, how far we've fallen from the all-time highs. I want to see here where the all-time high was for Stellar, at least from this chart. I mean, look up in there, guys, 51 cents to 8 cents. I mean, that's a huge drop. And cents, it's all about percentages. You really want to pay attention to percentages. People don't understand percentages a lot of time when it comes to trading, but they're so important. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for XLM. I would just be patient and kind of wait and see what it does with that trend line today. So I would say patience it is the best thing you can do. It's kind of in that neutral territory. Next one, let's go to ADA. All right, let's try Kraken. Alright, so this should give us enough chart to do what we need to do here. Alright, on ADA, it's looking like the MACD is bearish. So we had that crossover, the signal line there, and we're moving to the downside. The RSI is at 49. We're moving sideways, so that's pretty neutral. Alright, the thing I want to see hold is this trend line as well. Trend lines are crucial. We've talked about it on this channel. I want to do more tutorials on it. Guys, we're just going to do a rough trend line there just to show you what needs to hold. So right here, this is the trend line I need to see hold, just like in the other ones. We're in a short-term uptrend. We're no longer making those lower lows on the one-day chart. We're making higher lows. So now we have to see that continue. And what you do, guys, you just basically wait to see if this trend line is going to hold, if we're going to get a bounce off that, or if we're going to get a break and a close below it. And you start looking at your overhead resistances like around the 0.05. That's going to be a spot you'd want to look at. These wicks are all manipulation wicks, so I'm not too concerned with that right now. I'd go to the next spot where real body 0.0621. Then I'd really look up at this spot. This is going to be a tough overhead resistance. And guys, this is what would push us really into that intermediate uptrend. We're in short term now, then intermediate, then long term, and this would be around that 0.0810 up there. But this is what I need to see hold. So on ADA as well, I'm being patient. I want to see what happens with this trend line. You had big volume come in here for that sell-off, that bearish engulfing candle right here. Let me show you. Right there. You see that bearish engulfing candle of this candle? So that's maybe what would tell you, if we lose this 20 EMA and this 50 moving average here, that we may come down here and test this trend line. Look what happened off this trend line here. We had a bullish engulfing candle and got a nice clean bounce off that with increasing volume. Right now, volume is decreasing. Always keep your eye on that, guys. So if you like how I did this today, like where I ask you what coins you'd like to go over, please give me a thumbs up and we'll do this. We'll try to do it once a week or whatever. I'm trying to get out Litecoin videos and Digibyte videos or updates on news and especially tutorials so people can really learn. I want this to be a trading channel and also just about cryptocurrency and everything. Let me know down low in the comments if you like this. But I would say most likely Litecoin is bullish. Digibyte's a little more bearish right now. Theta is bullish in the long term, but you're looking at a bearish short-term pullback just for cooling off periods. XLM looking at a little more bearish right now. Remember, they're still in uptrends in the short term, but we have to see what's going on. There just could be further downside in a day or two to come. We're just going by the day right now, guys. And then ADA, I'd say, is a little more bearish right now until I see what it does with this trend line and if it can hold these moving averages. We've just been moving sideways and kind of consolidating there, so a little bit more neutral as well. But let me know what you guys think of this, and we'll try to do these more often. I really appreciate it. Leave it down low, like, subscribe, comment, guys. God bless you all.